Ciao, jewelry making friends. My name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my work table. I am so happy to be working on these projects today because these are the things that I purchased 2 weeks ago at the Intergalactic Bead Show. And I am about to share something new to my channel. I've kind of made a few announcements here and there about it. It's not really new to me because I found this company last year at this bead show, and I was so impressed, and I've shown a lot of the things from this company. It's called Purity Beads, and the owners are father and son working together, and they do these fabulous metal things that you see here. Metal chains, beads, components, spacer beads. Their booth at the show is absolutely delicious. If you didn't see that video, I can put a link below if you'd like to see what his booth looked like at the last couple of shows that I've seen him at. But the unique thing about his pieces is that most of them are a brass base, so really high quality, and then they have the coating on them, and then they do an e-coating, which is anti-tarnish, and they do it in-house. So you're really raising the quality of your supplies in any piece that you make. And when you start with beautiful things like this, you're just going to make a beautiful piece of jewelry. I mean, look at the toggle clasp. So these are some of the things that I got at the show. I mean, look at how beautiful. This has like a brushed finish on it, and it's like a little almond shaped bead. And I love these little teardrops, and I picked up 3 strands of these tiny little spacer beads because it adds that metal presence and that bling, but it won't tarnish. So I love that because I really love making jewelry that will last for a really long time. So I've cut one of those open in my little dish, and he has like some classic things as well. Like I got these bumpy spacer beads. I'll just show you a couple of the things that I got at the show. I love these beads. I already did a project with just one of these beads because they're so stunning. I mean, look how cool that is. It's like a little caged bicone bead, but again, brass base, high quality, and anti-tarnish coating. So I love this company, and what's exciting, not that it's new to me, but I have kind of had a few meetings with Dev, the owner, and he is offered to give my viewers a 10% discount on their first purchase from his website, and I will put that link below. So use my link to access the website and then type my code in, and you'll get 10% off your first order. So I'm so excited about that because I bring a large budget to the bead shows, always hoping that he's going to be there. And then in between shows, I go on the website and supplement my supplies because I just love his products. So these are just a few of the things. So he has the bright gold that I'm going to be working with today in my projects, but he also has like an antique brass finish, and this is my favorite chain of all time from his website, probably my favorite chain of all time. They are solid links, so they're perfectly like soldered, so that, you know, has a little bit of strength, but they have this beautiful embossing on both sides of the oval, and I just love that chain. So I have also purchased it in the bright gold. And if you've been on my channel at all, I'm sure you have seen that chain in a few projects because I reach for it all the time. And then I just got this at the bead show. It's another like oval link chain, but it has like diamond cutting on it, and I just thought it was absolutely stunning. And he also has like some copper and, as I said, antique bronze, and some chunkier chain and larger chain. And for those of you who like to do finer jewelry, if you have a fine line of jewelry, if you're making a special gift, he also has an entire section of sterling silver and gold filled chain and findings. So you can get head pins from him, the spacer beads, you know, different sizes of chain, and they are just absolutely stunning. And they in-house, they put this coating on everything. And like I said, even the base of the metals from this company are brass. Most things, I'm pretty sure most things are brass. So, you know, it's just fabulous. So I'm going to put that information in the description box if any of you are interested, and I know that you are, because every time I do a project showing anything that I've purchased from him, I haven't been linking it because I couldn't offer a discount or anything. And so every time I show it, I get tons of comments saying, where's that chain? What's the website? You know, so now I can actually share that with you. So I'm going to be doing a couple of bracelet projects. I've supplemented, like I got these fabulous coin beads at the bead show. It was a different booth, but Dev also does have some gemstones and things. You have to like shop his website. But I got a strand of these beautiful pearl coins at the bead show, and from Dev I got a couple of different clasps. This is one I'm going to be using, and I'm going to use that in this bracelet, and the other clasp that I got from him I'm going to use in my other bracelet. And I just pulled in some of these glass bicone pearls in this like gold champagne color. Really, I think maybe just for a dangle is kind of my idea, and so I'm going to be using one of these. Look how gorgeous that is. I think that's going to go for this other bracelet. And the other thing I love from him is the head pins. I got these, I think these are 3-inch head pins with the little ball on the end and the anti-tarnish coating. So when I do any of my drops or my dangles for my bracelets, and I'm going to make some earrings, I'll just take some of these out and just put them here. They are just fabulous, high quality metal, and they have that, add that little dot of gold. So, you know, it's not like earth-shattering innovative, but I love a little dot of gold on the end of a pearl, or really any bead. Even like, I'm going to cut these open. I think I will be using one of these or two of these. I actually bought a whole strand of this bead, and he had a couple of extra ones, so he put them in my bag. But like, even just to have a little dot of gold on gold, it's just beautiful. I mean, you could actually just make that an earring and one and done and call it a day. But I just love his things. And even on his strands, he puts these rings, which I harvest them because these are soldered rings. They're solid. You can't open these, and they have that coating. So these are just perfect if you want to tie right on with stringing material, any kind of stringing material, wax, linen, cord, or anything. So I always make sure that I rescue these when I cut open my beads. So I am, as you see, I am excited because I actually purchased these things to make some pieces for myself, and I've been really busy since I came home from the show, and today's the day. So enough chit chat, let's dive right in. This is going to be my first bracelet, and this is also from Purity Beads. Look at this amazing chain. It was a little challenging, so what I did is I cut my bracelet length, and it is a little challenging to cut because I don't know how well you can see, but these are literally wire wrapped. I think they're 11-0 seed beads. They might even be smaller than that, but this is just stunning. And there are 2 on every single link of this beautiful little oval chain. And so I'll show you what happened when I cut that's what fell off, because I had to cut the links. So I know you can barely see what it is, but they are teeny tiny wire wrapped loops on a teeny tiny ball head pin on those little beads. I fell in love with this chain, and so one of the things I just love is that I've never seen this anywhere. His items, his beads, his findings, I've never seen them anywhere. Like, look at this stunning toggle. I mean, I literally can't wait to connect it to my pearls. But this is going to be my first bracelet. It's going to be a super simple bracelet. I'm just going to get some jump rings, and I am actually going to use some gold filled jump rings that I have in my stash. I'll just put, that's way more than I'll need, but I'll just put a few out here. And my plan was just to make a really high quality, really classic. You know, for 2024, pearls are really in style, but like not your grandmother's pearls, you know. And for me, like this cool shape, and this is not pearl, but it's a pearl colored bead, and I just think it coordinates beautifully with the pearl and gold theme. So I'm going to do like a little set, a little collection here. And this is so simple. I just literally cut my length of chain, and I'm going to find one end of this. As I said, it's a little bit challenging because of all the little drops that are already done. And I am just simply going to attach my toggle to this end and do the same thing on the other end with the other half of the toggle. And I would tell you, I love the quality of their merchandise. I don't know if you can see, but this jump ring is such a thick gauge, and it is so perfectly closed that I almost thought it was soldered, but I think that I can open it. But like, it is so, everything that I have purchased from Purity Beads, I have loved. It was just super high quality. So like this, I did switch to my gold-filled jump ring because this is way too thick to go through that chain, but I may use that on my other bracelet that's going to be a strung project. So I am going, this is simple connecting, like simply open and close jump rings. Nothing hard about, anybody could do this. And when you start with these kind of amazingly beautiful supplies, I mean, that is just already stunning. I'm just already in love with it. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other end. Okay, that is gorgeous already. Honestly, I could be done right there. But what I want to do is create a collection, or like a mix and match set. So I am going to create a little dangle for this this bracelet. I'm going to take one of these gorgeous head pins, and since my other bracelet is going to be from these coin beads, I'm just going to choose like a really pretty one. They're very organic and very natural. Oh, that's a pretty one. It's nice and flat. I think I'm going to choose that one. Now, sometimes freshwater pearls notoriously have inconsistent holes, but look, that is working perfectly. So I am just going to make a simple loop. I'm just going to grab that, not putting any pressure on my pearl, and make a cut. And I am saving my extra of these long ball head pins because they're such a nice quality, and it's like a nice little piece of wire for making components on other projects. So I'm saving those. Okay, I want to make sure that loop is closed really well because I do not want to lose my little pearl. Okay, pretty little simple loop, and now I'm going to take another one of my gold-filled jump rings, and I'm going to attach this, and I'm going to attach it here, but I'm going to attach it not through the loop like you might expect. I am going to put this jump ring, now that I've got it in the loop, I'm going to put this jump ring around the whole toggle, and I'll show you why once I've connected my little pearl. It's something I've started doing because I really like my charms or dangles to be able to move freely 180 degrees around a piece, especially a piece like this that's so dainty, and it's going to turn in every possible direction. So when you connect that way, your charm can just go 180 degrees around. And so this simple, elegant, stunning bracelet is done. I mean, with these materials, how can you go wrong? It's classic. To me, this is very on trend, but at the same time, elegant and classic. So like I can see me just wearing this every single day. I love this. So my first bracelet is done, and my next bracelet is equally as simple. It is going to be a very simple stringing project. Let me set some things aside. I am going to take a piece of 49 strand bone color soft flex beading wire. This is one of my favorite beading wires. I also have a 19 strand champagne, but I really like this, and I checked it goes through almost all of the pearls. So the first thing I want to do is take a number 2 gold filled crimp tube. These are also from Soft Flex, and I'm going to take out just 2 of them because I need one for each end. And I'm going to use my magical crimping plier. I'm going to start on this end by making a loop, going back down through the crimp tube, and this way I won't have to put a bead bug on my on the end of my wire, because this is going to be a really simple pattern, just pearls with a dot of gold in between. So kind of like I love to do that with gemstones. This beautiful faceted cube quartz bead, that's what I did. I just strung the gemstone and put 1 dot of gold in between every bead so that I could just really enjoy. And these kinds of bracelets are wonderful to stack with other things, but also to wear alone. It gives you a lot of options. So that's the plan for this one as well. And magical crimping plier, where did you go? Okay, I'm just going to put that number 2 crimp tube right in the center of that well. Make sure it's centered and it's in there. Doesn't feel like it is there. And then close. I love this tool. I love having a perfect little gold bead doubling as a crimp. It's where fashion meets function. And so I'm starting off with a perfect little gold bead crimp, and I am fairly positive that 2 strands will not fit back down into this pearl because the holes are really small, but I'm going to try. Yeah, it won't fit. And so I did consider even mixing in one of these gold glass pearls, but I think that's going to maybe be a charm. So I can go ahead and cut this as close to that tube as I can get it. I don't really normally like to cut my bead stringing wire right up here where the clasp is. I normally like to hide it down 2 or 3 beads down, but sometimes it's not possible, as in this case. It looks really good though. And so this is just simple stringing. I don't want to lose my other little crimp tube. This is just simple stringing. 1 coin pearl, and I'm just going to pick up one of these tiny little brass plated spacer beads, and I'm just going to have a beautiful little dot of gold in between my pearls. And I'm probably going to like hand select the pearls from my strand. And I also want a pair of earrings, so as I'm stringing I will choose 2 pearls that are a pretty close match and set those aside for a pair of earrings. So it'll just be a second for you. I'm going to sort through my pearls and string, and I will be back to crimp the end with you. think this is going to be my proper length. It's so gorgeous. I mean, it's just so gorgeous. It's about the same. It's a little shorter than my other one, but I have a larger toggle. And one trick, if you need to add a little length to a bracelet, but a whole bead is too much, is to just add in an extra jump ring on one end of the toggle. And I have those here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to, oh, let's see. I'm not going to need this last bead because my little gold-filled crimp tube will be the last gold dot, just like it was on this end. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing on this end, match that loop. I made a really tiny loop because I wanted this bone stringing material to just sort of disappear. And now I can trim this wire as close as I can get it. That is so pretty. I love it. So simple, but the coin-shaped pearls just make the statement. It is gorgeous. A simple bead stringing project. And now I'm going to add this beautiful toggle and then decide on what kind of a bauble I want to make for it. These are so well closed. They look soldered. It's hard to find. It's really hard to find where to open it. I think that's it, but they are so beautifully made. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Purity Beads, for the discount for my audience and for all of the beautiful, beautiful supplies. Love that snapping sound. That tells me that I have a perfectly closed ring. Oh, wow, you guys, look at this. This is stunning. I love it. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this bracelet. So pretty. As I say, when you start with materials like this, you are not going to make an ugly piece of jewelry. And I can layer these with each other. I'm already playing with it and I haven't even finished this other one. Beautiful. So I took a dinner break from my projects that I was working on, and as you can see, my mat looks a little bit different because when I came back and started to choose what I was going to create for my little charms on the end of this bracelet, I'm looking at my beads and these fabulous supplies, and I designed a whole nother bracelet. So I went into my stash. I have had this little bag of miscellaneous black check glass mix forever, and I went into my stash, and in that little bag happened to be this black coin bead and some little rondelles, and look at this gorgeous little black check glass bead. And I decided to use a gold-filled clasp and create another bracelet to go into my collection. So again, these can be stacked and worn together or separately. And then I've designed 2 pairs of earrings and pretty much all my baubles. So I'll just show you how I plan to finish this one that I paused on. I just really want to make 2 pretty little dangling charms that I think I'm going to connect right here. And one of them I already did because it's pretty straightforward. I just stacked some glass pearls with one of my Purity Beads coated bumpy spacers and one of the Purity Beads ball head pins. And what I've done, because these were such long head pins, when I cut the wire to make the simple loop, I saved the material, and that's what I'm making my earrings out of. And any that I don't use will definitely get saved because it's such a nice high quality brass. So there's this one, and then this one, before I wire wrapped it, I just wanted to show you what I did. When I cut my chain here for this bracelet and for the earrings, I showed you in the beginning of the video how some of those teeny tiny little wire wrapped beads had to come off. and they were sitting on the edge of my mat, and I decided to thread them right onto this ball head pin and just let them be a tiny little part of this dangling charm. So I'm so proud of myself because I'm not wasting anything. So I'm just going to use my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper. I like this small size when I'm doing earrings or charms, and I'm just going to put a simple loop in there. And again, look how much wire is left over. It's enough for earrings, so, or another charm. So I'm saving that, and that is that simple. And these two charms are going to get thread onto another one of those gold filled jump rings. I'm going to thread them both onto a single jump ring and do that same connecting trick where instead of going through the loop, they go around the circumference, so that it will just be a lot of lovely movement. Isn't that so pretty? I just love it. Where's my bracelet? Here it is. And so I think I'm going to come on this side and just connect this like right over everything. This is already, I mean, I don't even have it on my arm, and I already love it. Look at that. It is so gorgeous. Oh my, I just love it. So I have another crimp tube here. I'm going to set these guys aside for now. And on this one, I was just going to show you another little trick. I needed like a little bit of gold presence that was really flat in between these two check glass discs. And so I just took one of those solid rings, even a jump ring works for this, and just thread that on, and it looks like a really thin little spacer in between. So same thing here. I'm gonna do my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper and just make a little simple loop, because I really like to thread them onto a jump ring. They just move better. And there's the charm for this one and this one. So I'm going to put two little charms when I'm finished stringing here. And so this again is another simple stringing project. Let me move everything up. I have these gold filled lobster claw clasps, and I love that this has this little joint here, and that is an Amazon product. I can link it below if you're interested. But I'm going to string this exactly the same way that I did with the little spacer beads in between, and it will get those two charms that we just made. But what I'm going to do for the lobster claw to clasp onto is, again, a few little beads from that check mix with one of those little gold, the same spacer I've been using, and I'm going to create a loop, and that's what that lobster claw is going to grab onto. So I've already thread my number 2 crimp tube onto this wire, and I'm going to feed this back down through, and that's going to be the start of this bracelet, is the loop. And on this one, I'm sorry I forgot to tell you, but on this one, instead of the bone soft flex that I used over here, I did switch to the champagne color, and this is a 19 strand. And the reason that I did that is on this end, I didn't want the bone wire to show, because it's going to be, so with this one, it will be gold all the way to the end. I just didn't want the bone to show, so I switched to this color. I was debating about this on my first bracelet anyway. And so this is going to be the exact same thing. The magical crimping plier, I'm just making a little loop before I crimp. I always like to check and just make sure that this is going to work. And I think that's lovely. So let me just do another little magical crimp here. And so this is, again, just another simple stringing project, and the same as my other bracelets. My magical crimp there acts as my, kind of mimics the gold spacer that I'm using, so I don't need one at the start of the stringing project. I am loving the geometry in these pieces because of the coin-shaped beads, and then I found this kind of pillow rectangle bead, and then the almond-shaped beads, and then some round pearls and some discs. And to me, this is just turning out so beautiful. It's modern, but at the same time, it's classic elegance. I'm just thrilled. So I'm going to string this and do the exact same thing. String this whole thing and put another loop at the other end with the magical crimp. And I'm going to come back and show you the 2 pairs of earrings. Super easy, fun earrings. And again, they'll be able to be worn with, you know, any of these, mix and match. It's like a whole little pearl, gold, and black collection. I'm just really loving it. So I'll keep working on my stringing and I'll be back. It'll just be a second. This time I was able to feed my wire back down through that bead. It's a lot larger than the pearl holes, and I can trim off away from my clasp, and that just looks so nice. And this is ready for the charms that I made for it, and this one will be finished. This is so exciting. I just have to say, when you have such beautiful materials, high quality materials to work with, as I always say, your design ideas they just flow. You just can't help. As I said, I'm sitting here looking at what I wanted to do for my charms, and I designed a whole nother bracelet, and I was only going to do 1 pair of earrings, but 2 pairs of earrings came out of this as well. When you have these kind of beautiful things to work with, your designs are beautiful and your ideas just flow. So my 3rd bracelet is done. Look at that. And so I love that little trick of, especially if you're going to do multiple charms or dangles, it's really nice to, instead of attaching through any of your loops, to go over the stringing material, because no matter how this turns, these just move so freely. But look at this stunning classic black, gold, and pearl bracelet. Oh my goodness, this is just gorgeous. I love all of them. I just absolutely love all of them. They are so pretty. I probably will wear them all together sometimes. So the first pair of earrings that I designed is one of those beautiful purity bead ball head pins, and one of these gold teardrops with that pretty brushed finish, one of the bumpy spacer beads. And then as I was stringing my bracelets and sorting through my strand of pearls, I actually kind of matched up the pearls that would look the closest for earrings. You know, they're very natural, so they were different, but I actually found 3 different sets where the pearls were really close in size and just the texture. I'm going to do 2 pairs of earrings, and I will put these in a little separate baggie, and you know, I know that they match for earrings. On these, I think I am going to do a wrapped loop, and I just because I don't know if you're able to see, but this teardrop has like a flat side here. It's got actually it has like a front and a back, and then of course I want my coin pearls to be facing forward. So I'm going to get everything the way that I want it, and I'm going to do a wire wrapped loop here, just so that I can secure everything facing forward for my earrings. So just a quick wire wrap loop, and I am going to be putting these on my gold-filled interchangeable ear wires. So I don't need an ear wire, I just need to make a decent sized loop that will easily fit into those. Before I tighten everything down, I will make sure that my teardrop and my coin pearl are facing forward. Just going to wrap down to that pearl. I think I can get another half wrap in here. That is absolute perfection. I use the entire length of the head pin. That is absolutely perfect. I love it. Okay, that one's done. I'm just going to repeat the exact same thing for my second earring. So I just cleaned up my mat a little bit, finished the earring, and I just had to try this bracelet on. I just love this. No matter which way it spins, there is just something gorgeous to look at. I love it. I love all of them. So this is what these earrings look like when they're all finished. Here's the other one. Did both exactly the same, wire wrapped, just gently secured, wrapped all the way down to the beads so that everything stays facing forward on these. And my last project for today is this beautiful little earring. Look how cool this is. I just wanted to do this one with you. Not that it's difficult, but just a couple of little tips for an earring like this. I mean, that is just so sweet. It's small, but it has a lot of really beautiful movement to it. So again, I saved my beautiful wire from the charms that I made when I had this much left over, and I want consistent loops because I am making earrings. So I'm going to put my wire in my one-step looper, and to save wire, I'm just putting it past this back jaw, and it will make a nice blunt cut just like that. And so I can skip that step with my pliers of making a nice clean blunt cut. And I just bend it down so my loop is centered on that wire. And now I'm going to open this loop because it's so much easier with such a small chain. And this is a little challenging, but it's totally doable. I just needed to move the little baubles out of the way and find my last link of chain, which is right there, because I want to put my eye pin that I just created through that last link, but I don't want to I want to make sure I don't grab one of the tiny little wire wrapped loops. It's a pair of earrings, so it would probably be okay, but I just want to do them the way I did the other one. So I have my little length of that chain dangling, and I'm going to close this loop. When I was at the show, Purity Beads had this chain in some other colors too, but I just chose this pearl color, but he had a couple of other colors of this chain too. But isn't that so cool? And now I can just complete my earring. Whoops, dropped my little pearl. Just complete my earring by threading my pearl. Maybe holes in pearls are a little bit inconsistent. Let me see if there might be something in the hole. So I keep this little set. So I have this little set of files. This is just a little inexpensive Amazon tool, and if sometimes with gemstones, well, glass beads too, but sometimes the holes will have something in them that's blocking them, and this is like a little emery board, like a little file, and it can just like give you that little teeny extra space. I just turn it back and forth just to clear the hole. I think that set had 5 or 6 different files, and so now my pearl just threads on really easily. And on my other earring, I did one of these little bumpy spacers and then a tiny little glass pearl just to top it off. Kind of went into my pearl stash. And that simple little earring is done. I again used my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper. Just make sure that I'm not putting any pressure. I always pull it back just a tiny bit so my bead is away from the jaw of the plier before I close, and it makes that cut, and then I can pull this down away from the jaw of the plier and make sure everything is centered. It looks great. And my second pair of earrings is done just that quick. So as I said, when you have these kinds of gorgeous, amazing beads and supplies to start off with, you just can't go wrong. I mean, your work is going to be amazing. I mean, look at these gorgeous teardrops. I just love everything that I got from Purity Beads. I have been using them for about a year now, as I said, and I'm so grateful to Dev and his son for giving a discount to my audience. And so in the description box, if you're interested in any of his gorgeous chains or beads, I will put my link and my code, so you can use my link and that takes you to the website, but it will also tell him to give you the discount, but you do have to type in the code as well. And I am going to just share a little technique with you guys. If you don't have a ball head pin or a decorative head pin and you want to make something beautiful like what I've done here for a charm, for a bracelet, or even for the bottom of earrings, I'm going to show you a little trick that I do to make my own decorative head pins. I'm just going to take a little length, about it depends how big you want this to be, and I'm just going to do a sample for you. And I'm just going to get started with making a little loop, just a tiny little loop. Kind of make this loop consistent with the size of bead that you're going to put. I'm going to expand it just a little bit so my bead will kind of nestle inside that little hook. And I'm going to thread this little glass pearl. You could use a crystal here. You could use, anything that you have. If you have a bead left over from the project that you've done, it's really amazing to have it appear in your piece like this. So I'm just going to snuggle that down, and I'm going to make a spiral with a bead in the middle of it, and this is going to be my head pin. So you do have to be careful not to break your bead. So that is getting this started is a little bit tricky, just because you can't put pressure on your bead. So you just have to get your pliers there and get that wire going around the bead. And once you do, you'll see when you get started, you'll see it's just like a regular spiral. I'm just going to push it against grab a hold of the wire and just push this against my finger. Once you get it started, it's really easy. You can even bring in, sometimes I bring in my nylon jaw pliers for this part. In fact, let me try and see if that will grab a little bit better, just to get my bead, my glass pearl, in the center of the spiral. And once you have it, and you get your bent chain nose pliers work really well, because you can see I can get a hold of my wire a little bit and just start spiraling. And once you get it going, you'll see that it's much easier. The trickiness of this is those first few little rounds with the wire. And you can make these as big, like if you need a tiny little charm or dangle, then you can make these, with just a couple of rounds, and even do like a 2, I think this is a 4 millimeter, but sometimes I do them with a 2 or 3 millimeter bead. And it just adds a little something. It's like your own artisan decorative head pin. And you can make your spiral really tight. You can make it where there's a little bit of space, just depending on what you want to do. And I just keep going until I am happy with it, or until it's the right scale for whatever I'm going to work on. And then I just will decide, like it's going to be a head pin, so I'll just decide where I want my pin. And I think I'm going to come up to the top, just the shape that it has taken. I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to bend that wire straight up. So let me get a hold of it right there and just bend it straight up. Whoops. And you can work harden by opening and closing your pliers. You can use your nylon jaw pliers. I'm going to get this straight up here. And so like you have this beautiful head pin that could be a gorgeous charm. You can thread your beads. Let me grab a couple of, just a glass pearl and just show you what it looks like. You can stack beads, you can, so there. Then from here you can do a wire wrapped loop, you can do a simple loop, and from there you have anything you want, from an earring to a beautiful little charm for a bracelet or the back of a necklace or an extender chain. So that is just a little trick that I thought I would share with you. I did not need to do that on these projects because I had so much to work with my coin pearls, but I have done this before, and I have a recent video in my Joey's Jewelry Box series where I needed a little something extra, and I did this in that video as well. I can link that below, but it's just a little tip for jewelry makers. If you don't have a fancy head pin and you need one, you can definitely make it with some wire. This is 20 gauge wire. It has the anti-tarnish coating on it, and it just works great to make your own little head pin with a spiral and the bead encased in the wire, and it looks like so much more than craft wire and a single glass bead. I just love it. So I thank you so much for watching and for choosing my video today. I hope you'll go and check out the Purity Beads website, and I hope that you found a tidbit of information or something that can be useful in your own designs. And I also hope everyone is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, creative friends.